Welcome to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. So grab a cup of coffee and relax, and join me as we gain insights into a soul. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Insights into a Soul. How's everyone doing out there? It's been a little bit. Sorry. I've been getting off track. I've got a lot of topics that I want to discuss, but I've just kind of gotten off track of my recording cadence. Just a lot going on in life, It's been a little bit crazy. COVID going on and just personal life, personal development, stuff like that. The huge, you know what I'm talking about. But just wanted to come on here with an episode. I guess it's the 1 year mark. It's not 1 year from when we started Insights, because I started that towards the end of last year. But it's, at the time of recording this, it's 1 year from the day that my ex told me she was leaving. And that's the day that my world changed. I went back and I read my journals and was reading from the first, few days of that. And by the time this podcast goes out, it'll be 1 year from the time she actually left. So I guess you could say it's the year anniversary of the events that spawned Insights into a Soul, that the catalyst for what we have now. So I just wanted to do an episode where I'm just kind of checking in, just looking at the past year, looking at myself, seeing where I was, where I am, and the changes that's happened in me. Because I think that's the thing. You go through a traumatic event in your life. You go through anything, whether it's the loss of a job, the loss of a relationship, regardless of how long it is. There's all different levels of trauma, of difficulty, of pain. But we all experience the same emotions, and that's hurt, that's pain, sadness. And whatever that might be in your life, whatever you've gone through, I'm sure you've gone through something that's hurt, or you're going through something that hurts right now. And if you are, I'm sorry. It's not easy. But I'll tell you this. I can tell you this right up front. It does get better. I can promise you that if you put the time and effort into working on yourself and working on things and resolution and personal growth and development, it will get better. If you don't, and you continue to let it fester and sit inside of you and not deal with stuff, then it's not going to get better. It's just going to eat at you and make it worse. So that's encouragement and a warning up front. So let's dive back in. For those of you that haven't listened to Insights into a Soul, you don't know the whole story, go back, listen to the first couple episodes. My eulogy goes through everything, and then another one called, I don't remember the name of it, but it was basically something I'm not telling you, I think was the title of the episode. It was like 6 or something, 10, 9, I don't know. Whatever. It's in the playlist. You should subscribe and you'll see it there. But that's where I break down the details of everything that happened. And a quick story, long story short, a year ago, my wife told me that my wife of 12, 13 years, we were together. It would have been 13 years this year of marriage, so 14 years together. She basically said, hey, I'm not happy, and I'm leaving. This was on a Sunday, and she said, I'm leaving this week. And by Wednesday, she was moved out with the kids and everything, and she moved a distance away for a little while. And that sent me into, I don't want to say a spiral, because that sounds extreme. It wasn't a spiral. I didn't spiral out. I didn't spiral into drinking or bad habits or anything like that. I think just the opposite for me. It was a wake up call in a sense. It was a chance for rebirth. And I like to explain it this way. Moving on for me looks like starting a new chapter, right? It's the closing of one chapter and the finalization and the beginning of a new one. And that chapter's closed. We're not going back. We're not reading it again. We're not going to try to fix it. I think the fact that she had, and again, this is in no way to slander her or anything like that, but she had moved on. She was interested in someone else. And I think the fact that she was interested in another person made it easier for me to move on myself, because that factor was there. So I wasn't in the back of my head saying, oh, maybe there's a chance. Maybe she'll take me back. Maybe she'll want me back. If I can just prove to her that I'm a better person and I can do this better and that better and all that crap. That factor wasn't there. because she had interest in someone else already. She had moved on emotionally and relationally in a sense. So it kind of gave me the freedom to not worry about that or not even think about that as a factor. So it allowed me to live my life and move forward. And push myself to go forward, not trying to figure out the what ifs. And of course there were what ifs and stuff, but not to the effect that I'm sitting here trying to reconcile things or trying to make things better and fix things between us, so that I could get her back or anything like that. So she told me on Sunday she was leaving and she was gone on Wednesday, and my new life began. And since then, I went, they moved away, and then COVID hit the beginning of the next year. So I went about 7 months without seeing my daughters. That was difficult. Talk to them on the phone and stuff, but because of distance and everything, I didn't get to see them. So that was a challenge. So living my life. Fortunately, I was surrounded by friends. I had a lot of friends that supported me and were there for me and were there when I needed them to hang out or to talk to. You guys know who you are. Shouts out. Some of them have been on the podcast. And, I'm fortunate that I work at a place that was very gracious with me as well, where my supervisors and managers and even executives took more of an interest in me beyond you're an employee and this is what you do for us, but my personal well-being and extending grace to me to grieve and to process things and to take the time as I needed it to just deal with myself, deal with whatever things were going on. And so that was, a good bit. And then in June, I decided, well, actually it was like May, I decided I was going to move out of the place that we were in because she left. I stayed in the house that we had purchased together, and I didn't feel that I needed to stay there any longer. I thought it was time for a change. There were just too many memories chained there. I kind of wanted to start fresh and to start new. Thought about moving to a different city, but I've got a really good job here and everything and a good network, so no reason to move right now, right? So I talked to my ex, and we decided that she would take over the house and buy me out of my portion. So she moved back. That way I've got my kids closer. She's closer to the job that she has here. And, it gave me an opportunity to move out and start again. It was a good sized house too. I mean, it was enough room for her and the girls. They each have their own room. Inexpensive compared to rent around here and stuff like that. So, it's a good house. She likes it. So made that decision in May. And in June, I moved into an apartment. So I'm currently in an apartment. And that's actually been nice for me. Just like not having to worry about anything other than keeping my place clean and, do things my way. Start over. All new furniture, all new everything. Just kind of rebuilt from the ground up, which I think that was instrumental in the healing process for me. I decluttered a lot. I got rid of a lot of stuff that I didn't need anymore personally. And I downsized. My apartment's bigger than my house was, interestingly enough. But I downscaled a lot of stuff. And that was kind of a purging process for me. Being able to get rid of a bunch of stuff was purging emotionally and healing in a way. So I did that, and that's actually been good to have a place of my own. And it's great now that my kids are close again, so my youngest comes over to visit quite frequently now. I have a pool here, which is super exciting for her, especially during the summer. We've been able to go to the pool a few times and take advantage of that. What else? I mean, those are the major things, I guess, that have happened, but all of that to say, it hasn't been an easy journey. I think I've healed differently. Everybody heals differently from events like this, but I've healed differently in that I think I've said it before. I had a feeling this was coming for a while, and I think deep down inside I knew this was the right thing for all of us, for my ex and for myself. It's a chance for me to start over. It's a chance for me to start fresh. And, as two people, we grew apart over the years. I think we still do care about each other, but not in respects of being partners, spouses. And that's fine. She's got to do what's best for her and what's best for her life and her personal growth and development. And she's gone through a lot of personal growth since she left. We've had some really good conversations, and, I'm not going to get into her details of her life, but I can say that she's grown. She's realized some things about her past and the way that she was. And we've had some really good conversations about that. So, she's grown. And I have as well. I've grown a lot. I think the hardest part is those times when you're lonely and you get down and just missing that person next to you, missing having someone in bed with you. I joke about it, but I bought a body pillow and it helps a little bit, but I don't know. It's just those quiet moments, those intimate moments that I miss. Having someone so close that knows you so well. And that's been the biggest challenge, I think, for me, is learning to be alone, and that it's okay to be alone. Sure, I've got friends and stuff, but nobody in the way that a spouse, an intimate partner, is. So that closeness is definitely missing. And, I face the year mark now and getting close to the formalization of the divorce and all that, because we've been legally separated now for a year. It scares me. It's uncharted water still. I never thought that I would be in this position. Honestly, I never thought that I would be divorced. Single dad. I don't have the kids part-time. But I don't know. I never thought I would be in this position. And the more I look, the more common it is, which I guess is sad. But at the same time, it's better that you know yourself and you do what's best for your development and your partner's development than what's best for outward-facing looks. Let me say that again. It's better that you do what's best for you and your partner's personal development than what is best for external views. You can go on social media, you can post all the best things, and people see your best life, and you know this. If you're an influencer of any kind, or if you're on social media, you know that what you put on social media is only a fraction of you, of what people see. And I think that's the way it is with a lot of relationships, is that, you see the good from the outside, and my relationship wasn't bad by any means. It was good. We had a lot of good. But just over the years, we grew apart. And I think unfortunately, the way it went down wasn't the best way, but I think there's maturity in being able to say, hey, it's not working anymore. You talk through it, you work through it, and if you can't work through it, then you call it quits, man. You don't keep pushing forward with something if it's not working. That's not healthy for anybody. I think whatever it is that you're doing, if it's a job, if it's a relationship, if it's a hobby, whatever it may be, a business, a friendship even, if you're continuing to push forward and it's more work than you think it should be. Now, granted, some things take a lot of work, I hate the term hustle, but they take a lot of hustle. You got to push. You got to push through. But if you're doing everything you can and you're doing everything right and it's not working out, then maybe it's not the right thing. And I think looking back, I think our marriage, that relationship, was the right thing for the time. I do believe, part of me believes that we were doomed to fail from the beginning. I think that if we had worked out some things that we needed to work out, we could still be together. But again, that's completely different situation, scenario, factors, yada, yada, yada. But here we are. Here we are. So a year later, I've grown a lot. Let's look at how I've grown. Let's look at how I've personally developed, because that's what this podcast is all about. Insights into a soul, insights into my soul today, because it's my podcast. Another day we'll get into your soul. Maybe you got some insights into your soul from this. But anyway, okay, so how have I grown? Well, I've got more confidence. I've got a better outlook on myself and my self-image. Part of that is because I've started going back to the gym. But before my marriage, I was a very confident person. I was a very sure person. Cocky to an extent, maybe a little arrogant. Yeah. But I was sure of myself. I was confident in who I was and what I could do and what I was capable of and what I was doing. And even physically, I've always struggled with my physical appearance. I just don't like the way I look. But I'm getting back to being confident about myself, maybe more so than before. Part of it's been because of in the gym. I'm actively in the gym, working out, lifting, doing stuff. I've changed up my diet, eating better. My sleep patterns are still atrocious. I find myself going to bed at 2, 3 in the morning and then up at 7. And it's awful because I can't sleep some nights. There's just too much on my mind. I think too much, and it's not even like about my relationship or anything. It's just I think about a lot of stuff in general. I have a lot of things on my mind and going on, and there's things I want to do and accomplish and this and that. But anyway, I will say that in this time, I am now better about focusing myself, meditating, concentrating, things like that. I don't get angry like I used to. My temper is completely different. Do I still get frustrated? Yeah, I get frustrated with stuff. Of course I get frustrated. But my temper's not there anymore like it used to be. I don't get mad. I don't get angry. And if I do, I'm able to talk through it and work through it better than I used to be. So that's a huge plus. I'm able to quiet my mind better now. Still struggle with it. Like I said, got a lot of stuff going on up there. Relationships have been weird. Friendships and stuff, because part of it's been because of COVID, so we haven't been able to hang out and do stuff like we used to. Not going out, not going to movies, not going to... I never partied or clubbed or anything like that. Could you picture me in the club? I don't think so. So that's been kind of a trying, stressful situation. I'm an introvert, but I'm also a very social person. Some of you might relate to that. I love people. I do. I love small groups and gatherings and things like that and getting to know people, but I hate meeting new people. I like meeting new people if it's controlled. I don't like going to an environment and then having to meet people in that environment. So I'm weird. I'm an extroverted introvert. Like, you give me the option between hanging out with a group of my close friends, I'm going to take that group of hanging out with my close friends, having drinks, playing games, going out to dinner, whatever it is, versus going to a party and having to meet people. If I go to a party or anything like that, I have to have a wingman. I have to have someone there that can be that person that goes and initiates conversation for me, that connects with people and is like, oh, hi, this is Torin, meet him. And then I meet. So dating life, if I start dating again, is going to be horrible because I cannot talk to people in that way. Cannot talk to women that way. And that's another world that scares me, is relationships. I haven't dated since my wife. That was the last person I dated, and we dated long distance for a good while. Before that, I had one girlfriend before her, and before that, I didn't date. I was oblivious to the fact that girls liked me, and now I look back, I'm like, oh, crap, that girl liked me. I missed out on that opportunity. So I don't know what to do now. I'm 37, going on 38 here. I don't know what the hell to do in the dating world, how to find people. And it's even more weird now because of COVID and everything, social distancing and isolation and all that. But again, I'm not going to go to a bar. I'm not going to go to a bar to pick up girls. I'm not going to go to Applebee's to try to find a nice lady. Where do you go? Do you go to Applebee's? Do you go to Chili's? Do you go to Outback? Where do you go? Where do you go to find people nowadays? How do you connect? Tinder? I don't like that. I don't like apps. And here's why I don't like apps, because apps are so superficial. Sure, you got to have physical attraction, so they see your photo and like, yeah, he's cute. Swipe right. Oh, he's not cute. Swipe left. Ow. And then I feel that I have it going against me the fact that I'm short. A lot of girls say that doesn't matter. But from what I'm seeing, that matters. I'm not a tall guy. I'm not your average 5'8", 5'9" guy. I'm short. Is that going to be a problem? I don't know. I've got kids. Is that going to be a problem? I don't know. And I find that everybody at my age has kids. They're single. They're divorced 2-3 times with 17 kids. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Anyway, so I'm getting off the rails here. That's a whole nother episode. So yeah, my confidence has grown. Not in that area, obviously. What else? Man, I think I'm more focused. I have several things that I'm working on, like my photography, my streaming, stuff like that. Like it's hobbies that I'm trying to turn into more than hobbies at this point. And I had to stop myself because for a while it was filling the void. I was doing stuff to escape the reality that I was in. And I was trying to fill the void, fill my mind, and not deal with my relationship, not deal with being single. But I dealt with that. And then now when I approach things, it's not approaching it as an escape. It's approaching it because it's something I genuinely want to do and invest in. So that's a whole another world. I think I've found I describe it this way. And some of my friends describe it this way as well. That when all this changed, when she left, when my relationship ended, it was like a cloud lifted off of me. I came out of a fog. I came into a new world, new light. I don't want to sound mystical. But I do believe that I'm in a different state. I'm in a different place now. In a better place, mentally, emotionally, physically. But yeah, so there's positives. So that's what I say to you. Person listening, listener, viewer, tune in, person tuned in. If you're going through a hard time, it's going to suck. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's not fun. And you know, it's okay to not be okay. Remember that. Those are important words that I wrote. That I actually, you know what, let's just open the journal here. Going through my journal from a year ago, that was some of the things that I wrote down. Some of the things I learned in my first day. Oh, my great wisdom and knowledge of the first day of my new life. Sadness is okay. If you're sad, it means you care. It means something meant something. But most importantly, it means you're still alive. I think that's an amazing thing. You know, I even said then a fog is lifted. The future looks bright. Some of it, I'm sure, was like excitement and hopeful fluff to try to get myself out of that mental state. Because you got to do that sometimes. You got to feed yourself the positive. Even if you don't believe it, sometimes you got to say it so that you can get yourself out of the funk that you're in. Try that. I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't get on board with the whole big motivational stuff like, yeah, just speak positive thoughts and you're going to win. You know, screw that. You're going to lose from time to time. You're not going to win all the time. You can say all the positive shit you want, but at the end of the day, you're going to fall flat on your face sometimes. And that's okay, because you know what? Not everything is in your control. Like my relationship, I thought my marriage was good. And I don't know if it was an illusion that I was living in or what, but I thought things were good. Really good. But they weren't. Because in a relationship, it takes two. It takes two to tango, buddy. So for me, I thought things were okay. I thought things were getting better. And from the outside, my friends and stuff, they were all like, what the hell happened, man? Everything looked good. Everything seemed okay. And it was to me. And it was to them. But to my ex, to my spouse, it wasn't all good. There was a lot of hurt that she hadn't dealt with, things that she had held on to, things that she hadn't talked through, that we hadn't dealt with together. And that was corroding her from the inside out. It was eating away at her, plus other personal things that she needed to work on as well, which she has. So you combine all that together, and it's like the perfect formula for disaster. And that's what happened. You know, it takes two. And so I thought it was good. I thought things were fine. She obviously did not. And so at the end of the day, again, if you're in a relationship, you know, some people say, you hear that, you see it in movies. It's not me, or it's not you, it's me. Well, sometimes it is. It is them. And it's not you. But I'm sure you didn't, you know, you've done some dumb things in the relationship. But again, don't blame yourself for everything, because it takes two people. So if you're in a relationship that's struggling, that just ended, or that you're still sitting there a year, 2 years, or several years after, and you're still asking yourself why? Why? Because maybe it just didn't work out. Because you're two different people. And that's okay. Let it go. Let it go. You're not always going to get closure. And sometimes you don't want the closure that you think you want. I will tell you that right now. Certain things are better left unsaid and unknown for your safety, for your personal growth, and for both of you. Now, it's not to say you shouldn't try to work things out. You shouldn't talk through things. Go to therapy. Talk it out. Go to couples therapy if you're still together and you're pushing through. Or if it's ended, don't push them to try to get the answers to why. Because at the end of the day, you might not want to look in the mirror and see the why. And again, their perspective is a skewed perspective. It's their perspective. So you might think, oh, I'm a great person in this respect. And then they'll tell you, you know what? No, you're not. You're an asshole. And maybe you are. But maybe you're not. Maybe you're not as bad as you think you are. Maybe you're not as bad as they say you are. But because of the life experience that they've experienced, the things that they've built up in their mind, their scenarios, the things that they haven't dealt with, they apply that to you, making you a worse image in their mind. Well, that's on them. All you can do is be the best person that you can strive to be. And at the end of the day, if that's not good enough for them, that's not on you. Like I say, with my marriage, my relationship, I believe that I did everything that I could to make it work. Could I have done more? Always. We can always do more. But did I do everything that I could? I think so. You know, I've said what I need to say. I did what I need to do. I'm not going to push anymore. And you know what? Early on, we talked. Hey, do we want to give this a try again? You know, do we want to give this another go? Hoorah! And the answer was no. No. You know what? Maybe 3, 5, 10 years down the road, maybe. But I'm not going to live my life with that hope. So this is where we get into an interesting territory. We talk about soulmates and we talk about stuff like that. I'm not a big mystical person, if you've known me long enough. I like to be grounded in fact, in reason, in logic. I think there is an element of spirituality and mysticism that we can't explain. But I don't use it as a crutch. Like, well, that's just the universe. That's just fate. Do I believe in fate? To an extent. Do I believe in karma? To an extent. But I don't let it drive my life or decisions. But there's shit that happens that you just can't explain. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, so getting down to the facts, getting down to the things that we can control. You know, that's how I live my life, right? I live my life working through the circumstances and the situations that I'm in, and that's what I did with my ex. We talked through some stuff and just realized that it's not in the cards. And I'm not going to live my life hoping that it works out again. Because again, I said this before in early podcasts, unless there's major change in both of us, there's no way that it could work again. We tried for 13 years. It didn't work. So if you're going through a tough time right now, maybe it's just not meant to be. And that's okay. And so this is where I spin back around and we get into soulmates. I believe that there are multiple people out there for you. I think you can be with someone that yes, this is my soulmate. Like, you click so perfectly and things work together so perfectly. You're going to have your difficulties. You're going to struggle. You know why? Because you're human and we're all flawed at the end of the day. But that's okay. That's part of being human. Nobody's perfect. If we were perfect, then we'd be billionaires and nobody would hurt and whatever. But there's pain, there's famine, there's hurt. So my ex, I think to an extent we were soulmates. We got along well, man. We were best friends. We thought alike. We shared a lot of the same interests. And obviously there was things that we didn't agree on and didn't share the same interest. She didn't like mushrooms on her pizza, and that was, borderline deal breaker for me. No, I'm just kidding. But there's things like that, that we just connected on. We had a lot of the same interests and likes, and we didn't like the same music, but that's okay. You work through it. And I think through all the differences that we had, we worked through things. We made the best of things. But it got to the end of the chapter for us, and we just weren't compatible anymore because too much had gone on and too much had changed that we hadn't dealt with. And so that's where we were left, and it was time to move on. And then I believe we have soulmates that are friends, that maybe we're friends with them and that we connect in so many ways. They're like a mirror image of ourselves, but maybe there's no romantic there, and it's just okay, and that's okay. We need these people that we connect with and that our brains are melded together, that we think alike, we like the same stuff, and we just get along. And you need friends like that. But I believe in a romantic sense that there are other people out there that, this is where I get into my weird Doctor Strange comic theories, alternate realities and stuff like that. But I believe that there are multiple realities that exist based on the decisions we make, right? So I said this about my ex, that I believe that if we had made some better decisions and choices along the way, that there was a reality that exists in which we would still be together. But this is not that reality, and that's okay. So I think that there's other people out there that you're going to connect with in your life, that you're going to find someone. And I'm not saying this just to hype myself up, because I do need to believe this myself, but I believe that there's somebody else out there. There's multiple people out there that you're going to meet them and you're like, oh my gosh, not that your ex was bad. They were a good person. You had a good thing with them, and it was just time. It was done. It's over. But you're going to meet someone, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this type of person existed. And they're going to be even better for you because of where you are in your life now, because of where you've come from, what you've gone through, and where you've grown to. That person is going to be an even better fit for you, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationship, whether it's business. I think that's always possible, that you finally get out of these patterns and these streams that we're stuck in. When we finally find the freedom to break out of our patterns and break our chains and move on down new paths and new worlds and discover new things, we have these moments where we find these people who are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was possible to have a friend like you, to have a spouse, a lover like you, to have a business partner like you. So I think if you get out of your way and you work on yourself and you be the best person that you can be, you heal, you grow, you move forward, you're going to find those connections and those relationships. That's my encouragement to you. Do I have a challenge for you this week? Yeah, I do. I always have a challenge. My challenge to you this week, look at your life. Look at your life from where you started in the situation that you're in. Maybe something like this happened to you. So it's a year for me now from my separation. So maybe you look at your life. You know, it's been several months since you lost your job because of COVID or other circumstances, or your best friend stopped talking to you, or you lost someone, or whatever the situation may be. You've gone through something big, and you've gone through a struggle. Look at where you were then. Look at where you are now. And see how much you've grown and how much you've changed. If you feel like you haven't grown, maybe it's time to grow. Maybe you're still holding on to things. Maybe you're still trying to get answers that you don't need. Maybe you're trying to fix relationships that don't need to be fixed. Maybe those relationships, those ties, those connections, whether romantic or platonic, maybe they're the chains that are holding you in place from moving forward and discovering the better version of yourself. Think about that. Sometimes we hold ourselves in place by holding on to things that are just weighing us down and keeping us under the water. When it's time to let go of those things, it's time to let go. And that's a whole nother podcast coming, man. Letting go of relationships that are not beneficial or fruitful to you. That's another topic. Maybe that'll be the next podcast. I don't know. I've got like 3 other podcasts in the works that I want to do. I've got ideas, lots of ideas. But maybe it's time for you to let go of some stuff that you've been hanging on to. Some baggage, some luggage. Get therapy. Find a good counselor out there. Get some therapy. Talk through your baggage and your stuff and work it out. Talk to me if you need to. I'm not a professional therapist yet. Not licensed. But I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you about some stuff. Send me a message. Find me on Instagram at Insights Into a Soul Official. I'm on Twitter. I'm all over the place. Send me an email. insightsintoasoul@gmail.com. But I want to talk to you. Find someone to talk to you. Find a close friend to talk to you. Talk to your mom. Talk to your dad. Talk to somebody that will listen, but that will give you advice that's good advice. Don't talk to like your, best friend Stephanie over there. That's like, yeah, girl, you got this. No matter what, she just feeds your toxic choices. Yeah, girl, let's go drink more wine. He's a loser, but you should get back with him. And again, if your name's Stephanie, I apologize. I just pulled a random name out of the air. I'm sure you're a nice person. But if you're enabling your friends by telling her to stay in that toxic relationship, then shame on you. Anyway, I get sidetracked. But yeah, just find someone to talk to. Find that outlet and don't hold it in. Because the more we hold on to stuff, the more that we keep the toxic things inside, the worse it is for us. And the more it festers and destroys us from the inside out and keeps us from being the best version of ourselves that we can be. So, yeah, let go. Have a conversation. Grab some coffee, grab a drink, get some bourbon. Have a good stiff drink if you need to. Talk it out. Give me a message. Give me a message. Send me a message. Give me a call. Let's talk. Let's talk about your soul and get some insights. So, hey, there we go. 1 year checkup. Lots changed, obviously. You can I can hear it in my own voice as I record this podcast and reflect on the last 30 minutes. I feel different. I feel better. I feel stronger. I feel smarter. I feel more alert, awake, alive. I'm still sad. I'm still human. I still hurt. I still cry sometimes and struggle with the situation that I'm in. But at the end of the day, I know that better things are coming if I keep looking forward and moving forward and letting go of the past and letting go of the things that I struggle with and dealing with them. And I know that things are going to be better down the road. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Make sure you like, subscribe. Please leave a comment or a review. Even if you just hit the 5 stars, leave a review on iTunes, share the podcast. Guys, I swear I'm going to get more regular with these podcasts. It's just been a challenge because, again, coming up on a year, it's been freaking hard. Okay? Emotionally, it's been a struggle the past couple months. A lot of crying, a lot of sadness. There, I'm transparent. I cry. Fine. I cry when I watch Sleepless in Seattle. Sue me. But it's been a challenge. And, I'm going to get more consistent with these topics. I just got to buckle down and do it. I'm going to do it. But I've got a few ideas in the works. I got some guests I want to bring on. If you want to be a guest, if you got something that you think we could talk about that other people would benefit from, if you think your story is a story worth telling, and everybody's story is a story worth telling. Everybody has a story. Shoot me an email, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com. Ping me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. And let's have a conversation. So until next time, see you guys. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insights into a Soul. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Insights into a Soul, on Instagram, @TornH, and if you have suggestions for future episodes or topics, or if you'd like to be on the podcast, contact us, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com.